So at Thomas Clarkson Academy, we did the Education Research Inquiry Certificate, and that has been a real success. To just kind of talk about how we did it, we gave teachers time to where they could meet together, and they had time off timetable for about an hour, and then we moved into twilight time. But we had 5 sessions throughout the year, which served as really helpful points to come together and see how it was going. And they designed their own research projects. Where we found the Charter College really helped us with that was that some colleagues were doing masters and they were already quite familiar with the process, but some colleagues had not done that before. So what we found was fantastic about the module was that it had the online element that they could work through, and there was a lot of guidance about this is how you do a research project in a school context. And so being able to align that with us helping to, how do we then adapt that for our context and how do we interpret it in our context, was really powerful. We also linked up with Impact Ed, and they were able to give us the tools to measure the impact. And so the combination of that has been really powerful and really exciting. And we've, I think, got a very high quality of research projects. And having done things in different contexts, I know how hard that is to pull off in a school context. Sometimes it can be that with the best laid plans, they get slightly waylaid, and it's hard to actually have the rigour that you need at the point when you're setting the research question, and then when you're working out how am I going to plan it all out. So what this did was help us to really refine the question and understand what a good research question looks like, then all the input on how to write a literature review. There's some great resources on the website that colleagues used, and then aligning that with the really rigorous evaluation from Impact Ed has worked really well. And because they're such high quality, that meant that we could then get other teachers excited because they could see the projects that their colleagues had done, and then the next cohort came through and with another batch of really exciting ideas as well. And now it's getting its own momentum that we want more people to come and do research projects. But they are high quality, really well thought out research projects, and that has been really powerful. And I think that's also helped, even the people that are not doing the projects themselves, it's started to shift the culture that these are things that we talk about in our department meetings, these are the things we talk about in our whole staff meetings and our inset days, because it's part of what we do, it's part of our culture. And that's something we really want to build on over the next couple of years. In terms of outcomes for students, I think we've seen people changing their practice. For example, one of the research projects was on how do we use retrieval practice in science, I think it was, and then you can see where the teachers thought about it a lot and thought this worked really well, actually this didn't work well, I thought it was going to, but it didn't. So then what I notice is you see them then, that impacts from their teaching, because then when they design the scheme of work for the next year, they bring all that learning into the way that they teach, and not just the way they teach, but the way the department teaches. So I think that's where the project itself is really important and really good, but what's really powerful about it is that it changes the way the teacher thinks, and if the way that happens, then they bring it into every aspect of their teaching. So we've seen some really exciting things like how we're using research-informed techniques in our teaching, but also actually we had sometimes when we had things that we thought worked that didn't work, and we stopped doing them. I think that was quite important as well, because there's a lot of things that we do in schools that are untested and we don't necessarily know if it's helping or not. So for us to have some quite robust evidence that it wasn't the most useful thing we could be doing, it just helped us, we could then put our energy into something else.